everybody, and welcome to another episode of My EdTech Life. Thank you so much for joining us this Wednesday evening. It is midweek. Guess what? We can almost see the weekend from here. So, for those
Yay.
of you that are working hard each and every single day, hey, we've got a couple more days. The weekend will be here. We get some rest. But if you're joining us, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys here. And thank you, as always, for supporting our show and making My EdTech Life what it is today. And today we have an amazing show. Today we have a great friend now, a new friend that I met. But man, we were just talking backstage, and it was as if we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
So today we have the always amazing, always just awesome Deb Zeman here on our show. Deb, how are
Thank
you
you.
doing today?
I'm good. Excited to
Excellent.
be here. Honored
Ex-
to be here. This is cool.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I know that you're busy. I mean, you've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of activities, and
Oh yeah.
involved with so much stuff that we talked about earlier, and we'll bring up a little bit about that.
Mhm.
But today, we're talking just casual talk, getting to know each other, and of course, we're talking like it's not just books and bonbons.
Right.
So, of course, I just said, you know what, I got to make that the title of the show with my friend Deb. And so, again, thank you, Deb, for being here today. So,
Sure.
let's
Absolutely.
go ahead and for our audience members that are tuning in that may not know who Deb Zeman is. Deb, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, let's see. Not a native Texan, as you can tell by the accent. Born and raised in New York on Long Island. Didn't move down here until 2002 because my husband got transferred. And I worked in publishing for about 10 years. Got my certification to be a teacher, but I will say it was kind of hard to do that because my dad is an education attorney and he represented the districts, and I had the same last name and I couldn't get a job. Yeah, it was like, oh, you're his daughter? Nope. And it's like, but I'm a teacher. So I went into publishing, and I was also in legal for a little while too. But I kept wanting to get back into the teaching. And so I went and worked for a couple of years at like what we call alternative school. You know, they weren't necessarily bad kids per se. They just didn't do well in the environment. So I worked there for a couple of years. We had the opportunity to move down here. That was truly the beginning of the internet when I literally emailed, went down on a Friday, interviewed, and Monday when I got back at work, I got the job. And so I was teaching 8th grade, and then I taught, let's see, 9th grade. I don't know. I've taught them all. So yeah, live here. I have 2 sons. They're 21 and 24. I don't know if Zachary's watching from New York. He goes to St. John's. And then was in the classroom. This is my 21st year for teaching per se. And I fell into ed tech by becoming the guinea pig where, let's see, we went down in my old district and saw our friend Carl Hooker when he started doing the whole iPads deployment in Eanes ISD. He came to us, we went down to them, and I was just like, well, why couldn't we do this? And so we had a grant, and I said, could the English department have a cart of iPads each? Okay. So all 5 of us got iPads, and we started doing stuff. And then it started leading to doing the laptop deployment. And then we used to use, I don't know if you ever used it, Gaggle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep, there's Tish. Yes, I was her guinea pig. And so we did the iPads with my juniors. It worked out great. She never told me. She doesn't give me a choice. And you'll learn more about that. It's called, hey, we're going to do this. Not, what do you think? It's, let's just do it. Okay, Tish, whatever you say. So did the iPads. Then we got the laptops and got G Suite and just hit the ground running. And then in 2015, because they knew I was a big reader, they asked if I would consider going to school and get my degree. And I went to library school, was able to work and go to school at the same time, and did the ed tech at the same time. And here we are. 21 years
Awesome.
later. Nope, don't listen to her.
Well, thank you to some of our viewers that are here joining us tonight. We've got Tisha, and Tisha is actually going to be on the show this coming Saturday morning. So you definitely want to check us out Saturday morning. And we've got Billy here joining us from Monterrey. We've got Gerardo, my great friend Gerardo, also joining me from Campeche, Mexico. And thank you
Wow.
guys for supporting. So, Deb, we've definitely got an international crowd here
That's cool.
today. So that's something that is very cool. But
Yeah.
talking about your experience that you had,
Mhm.
that is so amazing as far as where you came from and what you actually wanted to do, which is going into teaching. But of
Mhm.
course, you weren't able to do that till later on. But
Right.
to think that that was something that you had already wanted to do.
Oh, teaching since I was in 7th grade.
Wow, there you
Yeah,
go.
because I had this. I didn't necessarily have the same, but I had this one English teacher 4 or 5 times, and then he became my mentor when I student taught under him, and still talk to him this day, along with another English. So it was actually 2 English teachers I had when I was in school that I was able to student teach under, and I'm still in contact with today. So,
Wow,
it
that is
had a
awesome.
big impact. I mean, I was always a reader since, I don't know, 5, 4, always had a book in my hand. I've got a book in my hand right now. I was reading before we got on. So, but being able to take that passion of my books and pull in that ed tech and pull in the creation side of it, that's my world. It's not just books and bonbons. So,
There you go. That is awesome. See, like I never wanted to be a teacher, and I say that on the show all the time. I've never, but then I fell into it, and then I fell in love. And I've been in education
yeah.
going on 16 years now.
Mhm.
And sometimes I tell myself, if I would have done this a lot sooner, but sometimes things just happen at the
Right.
right time.
Mhm.
And I couldn't be any happier. And
Right.
I'm just really excited because I get to meet wonderful people such as yourself and Tisha and Pili and Gerardo that are here that they've been former guests on the show, and
Yeah.
just hearing their stories just
Mhm.
continuously motivates me and just kind of fills my bucket and
Mhm.
inspires me and says, man, I am in a good place with some excellent and amazing people, and that is just awesome.
Yeah.
So
And it's like you said earlier before we were talking, it's not your PLN, it's your PLF.
yes,
They're your
yes.
family, and these are the people that you can go to for anything. So
Yeah. Oh, I love
you
that.
know who's got the niche, and you know who you can go to for that if you
Oh,
need
yeah.
help.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I love too. It's like I always tell people, it's like, if I don't know the answer, I'll definitely find somebody that can get you that answer. And that's the great
Exactly.
part of the
Yeah.
PLF there.
Mhm.
So, yeah, you're welcome. Gerardo again, great guy. If you can, and if you're a Spanish speaker, listen to that show, that episode. Gerardo, very knowledgeable, very passionate for education. So, Deb, let's talk a little bit right now. You hit on something that I really want to talk about. And right now, I am kind of doing that. We talked a little bit backstage where I'm exercising my creative muscles. And
Mhm.
you mentioned you're reading, bringing in the ed tech and then the creativity. And
Mhm.
we're talking a little bit about yourself too, not in the professional, setting as far as school, but
Right.
you're talking about
Personal.
creating and personal. And
Mhm.
so let's talk a little bit about that. Like, do you use that creation time that you have to do what you do? Is that just an outlet for you as well, just to
Yeah.
say unwind from school and now I get
Mhm.
to work on my own
My
things?
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm on what's called the TLA Tashos Committee, and that's for the 9th to 12th grade YA books. So I have to read a lot, but there's times where I need my brain to shut down. So then I will go and on my iPad, like we were talking before, I taught myself how to use Procreate. So I'm designing things on Procreate. I got a Cricut for Christmas and because of my future daughter-in-law. So I've started to make shirts and stuff. And it's like, I could be in this little crafting room, which used to be my son's bedroom since he moved out. And I can be in there doing stuff for hours, and my husband will be like, "Are you okay up there?" I'm like, "I'm good. I'm good." It's my place to decompress. I could be sitting there designing on my iPad, curled up on the couch, or I could be in there printing things out and doing what's called weeding. You have to pick the things, and
Mhm.
it's tedious, but I'm so focused on it. Hours will go by, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I feel good. My brain's cleared. I'm de stressed. Now I can go pick up a book again to catch up on my reading or whatever. So, I mean, with everything with COVID and going remote, being a librarian, it was different where I was before than where I am now, where I threw out there as much support that I could, but it wasn't truly accepted and taken and recognized because of where I was. Library programs were not valued. So now here, the stuff that I'm doing with, I have a partner at work where we can bounce off of each other. She specializes in one thing, I specialize in another, so we can bring that creativity together. So,
Oh, that's great. And but going back to just creating there at home, I mean, it's definitely something that's necessary. It's just an outlet.
yes.
Just like you said, let your brain rest. And right
Mhm,
now, like I've been working a lot on just learning some Adobe tools, and learned.
mhm,
I was telling you, I learned Fresco today. I put up a
right.
little video, and I was like, wow, like you said, you just kind of shut the brain down a little bit,
Mhm,
and then you learn a new skill. And like I was talking to Claudio, I think that like what you're doing, and you'll share a little bit about what you're working on as well. But I think it's a great way to just creatively amplify our voice, like
right.
what we're feeling. And I know I
Mhm,
talked about this in another show where sometimes, like for example, I may not be, either the best singer or the best something, but I
right,
can I can tell you how I'm feeling by just simply creating something, whether it's a
right.
drawing or
Mhm,
working on a video or something
yes.
like that. And I think that even for us as teachers, I know that we ask our students to be creative and amplify their voice, but
Mhm.
even for us, it really does help.
Especially like we were saying with this year, it's all about mindfulness and we've got to take care of ourselves. Oh yeah, sketchnoting. Yeah, Omar, your stuff is like on
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
We've used it and we've used his examples for stuff and I'm always envious. But it's kind of like what we were saying before when I first learned about Procreate, it was from a former student. I was like, I can never do that. But because I sat and I took the time and it was something I wanted to do for myself and it was taking care of me, now I'm like, oh yeah, layer and this and that, and I can do it and I can drop it and I can create. And again, it's reading is an escape for me, but so is this. I've always wanted to learn how to sketch note, but I can't draw to save my life. So I'm like, I'll stick with the Procreate.
Yeah. Hey, I'm the same way. Trust me. I've tried it. Maybe it's like I
Yeah,
said, it just hasn't clicked, but maybe now that I'm messing around a little bit more with
yeah,
the iPad and the stylus and everything, it'll come. But right now, like I said, it's just been just a really creative journey in
right.
being able to do this. And a lot of people to thank, especially I know you're familiar with Al Thomas, right?
Oh, of
Of
course. Yeah.
course, right? I mean, Al
Greatest
is
photographer, greatest, like, just so, he and Claudio, there they are.
Yes. Yeah, him and Claudio both,
And
have
learning from
been just amazing. And I know
them.
I had
Mhm.
Claudio on the show last week and I let him know, I mean, just what he's been able to help me
Yeah.
do. And also with Al, I mean, I'll
Mhm.
text him every once in a while. I was like, hey, check this out, check out what I did and do this.
Mhm.
And, he takes the time and says, hey, you know what, let's meet or try this, try
Yep.
that, and everything. And I think that's just amazing when you find your PLF, people,
Yes.
like you said, you find those people that have those certain specializations
Mhm.
that maybe you're wanting to learn, you reach out to them and they're there to help. And
Yeah.
so that is definitely something that is
Oh,
amazing and
yeah.
just continues to help you grow.
I mean,
But
when Tish and I have gone to conferences, we always find out where usually we're hanging out with Claudio anyway. We have our little group that we hang out with, but we always go wherever those two are. And it's because of them, we've learned about Adobe Rush. And I'm sitting there on my phone creating little Spark videos and whatever. And just they just take it to another level. But when they teach you, it's like, oh, okay. I'll give you another example. Bunsey. I love Bunsey. I don't use it just for the library aids in the library. I do it for me. So what I do is I create the bookmarks, and I create them based on a book I might have been reading. This month it's Women's History Month. So I'm creating
Oh, yeah.
bookmarks with quotes for famous women. Women people don't necessarily know made an impact. And way back 2 years ago, we were at ISTE, and Michael Dresik. Mike is the
Mm.
bomb. He's like the king of Bunsey. He created like the Bunsey man that goes and travels everywhere. He literally taught it to us in 5 minutes, but taught it to us in a way that literally stuck with us. And because of that little 5 minute tutorial, that's all I've ever done is use Bunsey now for in the library and in the classroom, but also for myself where I can just sit there. And I've talked with Marie, who's the founder of Bunsey.
Mhm.
She's like, yeah, I'm talking to you on the phone, I'm playing on Bunsey on my iPad because it's another form of escape, but I've also taught myself and I can teach others how
Yeah.
what to do with it, how to use it. So
Perfect. Yeah, and that's I think what I like about it is like you said, those people that we look up to or that we learn those things from, then we put it into practice, but then we
mm-hmm,
also share that with
mm-hmm.
others,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's the thing that I love. That once I'm
Mhm.
inspired, like, and lately I've just been putting up a lot of stuff like artsy stuff that I never thought
Right.
that I would be able to do, but then with
Yeah.
Claudio and Al, who always just kind of say, hey, just put it out there. I mean, because then you suffer of imposter syndrome and then you say,
Mhm.
no, but it's not good enough. And so now I've learned, and now I'll put on my post, I'll say, look, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for
Right.
practice. And that's the only way that we're going to
Right.
get better.
And you're also, in a sense, saying, hey, if you have any tips for me, please let me know because I want to know what it is that you did to make it where I want to take it, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yes, for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of that creativity that you're putting into practice. And of course, you see the title of the show. It's called
Yeah.
It's Not Just Books and Bonbons.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that there's a story about this. And when we
Yes.
met at TCEA, you said, hey, there's a story behind it. So
Yeah.
now I get to hear the story and
Okay.
our audience members get to hear the story.
Oh, and Tish knows this story. So a couple of years ago, when I had finished my master's, I went to administration to talk about my job role. And I was, in a sense, both the high school librarian, but also the district librarian. I was the only certified librarian, so I oversaw a lot of things. So I wrote up my job description. It was 5.5 pages long. So I handed it to the two gentlemen that I was with. The one's eyes were like falling out of his head when he was flipping it. The other one reads it, sits back and says, and gee, I thought all you did was read and eat chocolate all day. And that stuck with me because for me, it was so offensive because you don't know what I do. I'm not sitting there just reading books and recommending them to the kids. I did breakouts. I did breakouts probably 3 times a week with the kids, and that's a lot of work. Researching it, creating it, setting it up. I would do book tastings. I would do the ed tech stuff. I would teach the kids. Tish and I at the beginning of the year did the Digital Citizenship Academy together. And to hear somebody say that, it's like, then you really don't know what a librarian truly does. We're not the don't shush me anymore. I had music on all the time. And the kids, when I was out, were like, why did you not leave a radio with the sub? Like, I'm sorry, there's so much more too than what we did. So that's become my mantra is it's not just books and bonbons. There's so much more that we can do. So yeah,
Mhm.
I'm very
No,
passionate about that.
no, and I agree with you. And I think you mentioned that you had seen Karina's episode that we did,
Yeah.
and she said something along those lines, like, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
exactly like that. We're not just here, shelving books and
Mm-hmm.
doing that like people think. I mean,
Right.
you're working, you're doing lessons, you're trying to add to the curriculum, you're trying
Mm-hmm.
to assist and help out other teachers during
Mm-hmm.
this time as well. And then
Oh
on
God.
top of that." on top of that, doing what you already have to do,
Mhm,
so you're adding to that. So I've
mhm,
always seen, the library as it, it should be seen. And even when I was in the classroom, I said,
mhm.
library should be like that tech hub, like the central, like that's like
Yeah,
the nucleus,
mhm,
and everything from there should expand out, from that. And we're
right.
seeing that, like, and again, because of our situation with COVID, we're definitely seeing a lot of that. And we're seeing a
Yes,
lot of people in your position across the nation that have embraced what happened in the sense, and really just adapted to the
mhm,
situation,
mhm.
improvised, and just boom, just went for it, and
Yeah.
are doing some amazing and stellar work.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, they're actually seeing, oh, okay, we have those. Okay, to be a librarian, at least in the state of Texas and most states, you have to have a master's in library and information science. Mine is that with the specialty of school librarian. So it's like additional stuff on top of it. We are it I think Karina said it in her session about like we're the Google detectives. We're the ones that know how to research. We're the ones that know how to find. We're the information specialists. And we're the ones that are going to get all the reliable resources for you that you need. It's not just Google, guys. You can't just always Google it. You've got to know fake news versus, oh,
Yeah.
this is legit stuff. And, back in March when we shut down, I worked in copyrights and permissions a really long time ago, way back when I was young. And that was huge. Copyrights and permissions, people do not understand. There are United States rights, there are worldwide rights, there's Canadian rights, there's Mexican rights, there's South American rights. So in March, when all these librarians, our teachers, wanted to go and record and put themselves out there, the lawsuits that could have gotten slapped on the districts. Because the thing is, authors can turn around and say, sure, you can use my stuff. No, the publisher owns it. And the publisher will tell you what rights you have and you don't. So I had to scramble because somebody went and put something out on Facebook Live and I about lost my mind, somebody from a district and my former district, and I had to jump on it and say, no, 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 you can't do that. So during that whole week, fellow librarians that I know were building these resources and we were sharing stuff. And like one was fantastic. And I said, can I take that format and take what I have and put it together? They're like, yeah, absolutely, use it. And I did. And I'm like, here you go. This is what they can do. It needs to be locked down. It needs to be in like a Flipgrid, or it needs to be in a Google Classroom that it cannot get out into the public. And after 30 days, you have to delete it. So that's what we were all doing in the beginning of that, running around and trying to make sure we were covering all bases so nobody would get in trouble.
Wow.
And now it's like, here's the resources. We don't have to go old school anymore with, English 4. You don't have to read the traditional Hamlet. There's a teacher at my new district. He teaches a graphic novel class with the classics. So I helped him. I curated a giant wakelet with information over each one. So the kids are reading Macbeth, but it's not the boring out of the textbook. It is now the graphic novel. So,
There you go.
that's what we
But that, I
do.
mean, yeah, and that's amazing,
Yeah.
what you did there, because and that's, one of the most important things too, that I know in a lot of districts, and like people in our position too deal, it's like, can we post this or can we not
Mhm.
post this? Where can we post this?
Right.
Is it allowed to do here or do there? And sometimes it's just finding or doing the research and saying, okay, what do we do? Is this what is possible or
Right.
not possible? Because we definitely don't want anybody to get in trouble for any copyright,
Exactly.
yeah, so that's
And again,
definitely.
that goes all the way back to when I worked in the publishing industry, having that background. I carried it through. It's kind of like, in high school when you take typing. That's the greatest, keyboarding was the greatest class I ever took. Well, working in a publishing industry in that copyrights and permissions, look at where I am now. I'm the information specialist, and I'm still using that information from 200 years ago. I worked in publishing. So, yeah,
Yeah.
time's over.
Hey, so you mentioned a tool again,
Mhm.
and we just happened to be we presented at TCA, and
Yeah.
you talked about Wakelet, and so let's talk a little bit about Wakelet, and let's share a little bit of love to the
Uh,
Wakelet community that is
yes.
out there watching or
Yeah.
visiting, or or will rewatch the show later. So I had the greatest time, there in that session with you all. It was amazing, and of course, being assigned Tisha's right hand man. And so I kind of feel like you said, like it's not like, hey, would you be? No, hey, you're gonna be my right hand man. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay. So I got introduced to Wakelet through Christina Holzweiss, who we were just talking, ran the Ed Camp Cardigan this weekend, which was fantastic. And we'll talk about that in a sec. I had gone to New York and we had already been friends. And I'm like, hey, I'm coming up to visit my kid for Thanksgiving. Can I come and see you at school? She's like, oh my God, yes. So I got to see her, toured her school, saw her innovation lab, all that. And she said, and we're all big Flipgrid ambassadors or whatever. She's like, hey,
Mhm.
you ever hear of this before? And I'm like, hear what? She's like, oh God, another tool. What can I learn now? She's like, no. This is going to be a game changer. And sure enough, it truly has. I use it for everything. And I'm sure you saw on Twitter today. I know how to delegate. She does. I remember she showed it to me. I downloaded it on my phone and I had it on my iPad, and I was off and running with it, curating, creating things. Yes, daily, absolutely, personally and professionally. Like what I'm creating now on my own, I've created a Wakelet. Whereas I have my portfolio as the Wakelet. I used it. Tish and I created the student ambassador program, which we crashed through in 3 weeks. And now it's like worldwide. It's incredible. But there's just so much you can do with it. So when she showed it to me, I was like, okay, I'll try it. And that was it. And then you meet these guys and it's like you've known them forever. They truly, yes, productivity powerhouse. They are truly a family. And when Tish and I first met them, which was, I don't know, 2 years ago, I've lost track because we haven't been at any conferences in forever. I was like, we were at Flipgrid Live rehearsal because somehow we got roped into being the bouncers at the door, which is a whole other story. But we were standing on the floor and all of a sudden, and Tish had no idea. Anytime I tried to show her Wakelet, she's like, no, I can't. Not now. Don't. There's too much, whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, they're going to be here. And again, it was like what we talked about before. Oh, the edge of celebrity, and like
Yes.
I talk to them. And so we go in and it was like coming home. The hugs and hello and how are you? And she and I, along with Claudio and Eric De La Rosa and everybody, for the next couple of days, we ended up hanging out with them the whole time by accident. It wasn't even like, I'm like, all right, let them go do their thing. It's the first time some of these guys have ever been here. We're not going to bother them. But somehow we always ended up in each other's orbit. And ever since then, we've been in their orbit. And it's just, they're the kind that they go to the ambassadors. They go to the users and say, what do you think? What are you looking for? How can we make this better? What do you want to see happen? And then they'll share things with us too. That, they're, how we always want as educators to empower student voice. They're empowering educator voice.
Yes.
Which is huge. And, like I said, I use it for everything. I think my Wakelet is broken though, because I keep curating. My bookmarks don't go past 25,000. I have to ask them why. I'm like, wait, something's wrong, guys. So yes, and now they have more collaboration features, which is key for the 13 and under, which is what we, who is it? me and Wendy Prey did the Ed Camp Cardigan. And when you present over Wakelet, you're literally touching the surface. They don't see the iceberg and everything. And there's only so much you can, you need like a 10-hour session. And that has happened to Tish and I when we've gone and we did some sessions in our friends district. And what should have been like a beginner's trainer thing, it turned into 3 hours because they didn't want to leave. They wanted to learn more. So we're like, okay, let's go for it. And we just, again, touched just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, there's so much to learn and it's such a robust tool. And what I love is just like we said, like any link that you got, anything with a link, just
it
pop it
is.
in there and you're good to go.
And
And I mean,
the key thing is, it's free.
yes. And that's
People
free
don't
and it's
understand that.
always been free. And you're absolutely right. I think that was one of my main points that when we talked in the presentation is that the fact that
Yeah.
Wakelet always listens to educators. That is one of my favorite things. Yes, the tool is great, but it's just the fact that they're always willing to listen. They're doing the research and so on. And
Yeah.
they're so kind, so humble, and they're just amazing, amazing company, amazing everything.
And what's
everything
the
that they
next
do.
level? What can we take it to for educators? And the
Mhm.
thing is, the little behind the scenes is they did not expect I was on level 12. Oh, yeah. I get what she means. I'm like, what does she talk about? I don't think they expected the explosion that happened in the education world. Because they usually, before they were universities, they were companies, and then all of a sudden, I know Christina was one, and then I think it's Brandy Reams, who is a kindergarten teacher who uses it all for lesson plans. She was one of the very first who just, it went boom. So, and yeah, level 12, because I'm always finding something else that I can do with it and be like, here, try this. So,
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's awesome, like you said. And, I remember the way that I stumbled upon it was just because I needed a tool to keep on my resources, a curation tool. And we're actually going through my master's program. And what one of our assignments was, you have to, pick articles during the week. I think it was 5 articles per week that you need to submit, and you need to use a tool. And I was looking at tools and doing research and all that. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what's this Wakelet thing? And sure enough, I signed up for it. And I guarantee you that I think it might have been maybe within that week or week and a half, I received a phone call, or actually through message from James. And then he's like, hey, can we do a meet? I was like, okay, sure. Mind you, it's 5 p.m. my time. I'm getting out of work, which means it's 11 p.m. UK time. And I'm driving. And of course, I shouldn't be driving, but I started to meet. But then I parked at a Starbucks and I just sat there in my car. We had a conversation for about an hour and he was just asking. And the same thing, I told him, if you make this accessible to teachers, you don't understand the potential that this has because you just pop everything in there and it's good to go. And so, like I said, going back to the way they work, I mean, they'll contact you, they feedback, they listen. That's the beautiful part about the community aspect of it too, as well.
That is a true PLF.
Oh yeah,
true
for
PLF.
sure.
Honestly, Tish and I are convinced that they do not sleep. Because we'll get little messages. We're in a group chat with them. And all of a sudden, it could be, 11 o'clock at night, our time. And I'll hear ding. I'm about to go to sleep. I'm like, what? And I'll look and I'll go, what are you doing? It's 5 a.m. Go to sleep. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Then, so definitely sharing some love to all the guys at Wakelet. Thank you so much for everything you do. And obviously just for listening to teachers and just continue doing the great stuff because as you can see, you've got 2 wonderful educators. I mean, you've got Deb here, you've got Tish in the chat, and, you've got Rose, Gerardo, I know Pili and all them. We use it also as well. Isaac also, I mean, he just shared a, powerhouse tool. So definitely great. So, Deb, let me ask you something. Like, what else is out there? What else is on your radar right now? Maybe you're kind of diving into or wanting to learn more from, and as far as a tech tool that might be out there.
I really like Book Creator.
Oh, I love it.
That is really cool. Again, Christina,
Yes.
hey, try this. Okay. And for, if you look at it some ways, yes, you can use slide deck for some things. Yes, I can use Buncee for some things. But what I like is with Buncee, I use it for specific things. Whereas Book Creator, I like it because of that comic book feel with the panels.
Yeah.
And I know that it attracts the kids a little more. So what I did was, boy, was it a lot of work, but it really helped. When at the end of the year with the Tashos list, we had our final list, and it was 102 titles. We got it down to 78. And I'm like, okay, I need something, a tool that I can showcase. These are our top 10. Here's the rest of them that we voted on. And then I'm like, wait, I did those 2 books with Christina. We did the Librarian Survival Toolkit and then the Digital Survivors Toolkit. And we did them in Book Creator. And the thing I loved about Book Creator is it's actually really simple to use. Click, click, add, click, done. So I said, oh, I'm going to use that. And so what I did was, because we're COVID, this was the key thing, and we're in remote, it's a virtual book tasting.
Ah.
So I have a picture of the book. I have a summary based on what somebody in the team wrote up. And then I would find book trailers. I would find author interviews, audio clips that the publisher put out, believe it or not, on SoundCloud. They'll have these 5-minute clips. So it will pull the kids in. So what we were able to do this year is with seniors, juniors, and sophomores, we were able to go in, bring some of the books with us, but also show and share the book tasting. And the kids could, at their leisure, skip through, read it, listen to it, watch the trailer. And it was like, oh, this is great. So that's the other one that I've been playing with.
Oh yeah, that's a wonderful, wonderful tool. Like again, I love the simplicity, like you said. There could be so much done, and then of course the immersive reader. You've got all the tools that are built into it for accessibility and learning, and like I said, and it's such a very easy tool to use that once. And this is what I tell teachers: like sometimes you just get clicky with it. You really can't break anything in there. You can always click undo and figure it out. But I love the ease. The platform is great. And like you said, you can have a little unit, you have your book, you have your bookshelf. And then of course the kid, you share that with the students and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you get 40 books. That's a lot. You're not going to create 40 books overnight. That's the thing. Yes. App smashing, Flipgrid, and Book Creator. Absolutely. Yes.
There you go.
You can app smash with so many things. I think with Wakelet, Kathy Kursnowski and I think it was Brad Dale, came up with 36 app smashes with Wakelet. 36. I was like, okay, I don't have that time to figure everyone out. But again, that's what's nice with all these different ed tech tools that we use. We have that ability to, okay, in Wakelet, I can do a Flipgrid short and I can include in a Buncee. And you know what? I can also put the link to my Book Creator in there.
Yeah.
In addition to YouTube and everything else.
Everything else.
I love to go, I'm sorry, I'm going back to Wakelet, but when you put in a YouTube video, it plays right in there. You're not going out to YouTube. So that's what's really nice too.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That way you don't get all that other distraction stuff and everything. So that's
and
great.
Then I really want to, and I'll probably tag Claudio and Albert.
Of course.
More Adobe, just because there's just so much. I know how to do the Adobe Spark and Adobe Spark Video. Now I really want to learn Adobe Rush.
Rush, yes. Actually, like Claudio's been, he's been hooking it up. I mean, it's amazing. I just love Claudio's heart. Like, I mean, he works, he does this and he puts up those mini PD sessions very quickly, very easily. You follow along and by the time you know it, you're doing exactly what he's doing. And I think that's wonderful. The work that he's doing, creating those videos that he does. And of course, the session too that Al did in TCEA too, using the storytelling.
1 minute documentary?
Yeah, or the documentary.
I used it
the 1 minute.
Yes. This is great. This is what I
Yes.
need. So yeah.
Yes, and I think that's what we're seeing now more of is you said just getting authentic voice from students. I mean, it doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily they don't have to have their camera on. They
No.
can narrate something. They're
Mhm.
creating a learning
Mm.
artifact, and that's something that's so important to
Right.
understand that, giving them a choice to present something in a manner that is conducive to in a manner that is attracts them, that really hooks them, where they can show their creativity and bring that out. I think that is where authentic learning takes place. Now it may not look like your traditional multiple choice sheet that you're grading, or it's not going to look like a Google form
Right.
or a formative assessment, but who says that you can't assess student learning through that? I mean, in my grad program, we had to turn our final project was our portfolio of everything that we had created up
Mhm.
until that day. And then you've got the professors that would grade to make sure that everything is in order the way that they wanted. But there wasn't any test, nothing was multiple
Right.
choice, everything was created. And what I
Mhm.
loved is that this is what they said. Well, this is what we're going to be working on this week. You pretty much figure it out as far as what tool you need,
Yep.
but here is our rubric.
Mhm.
There you go. So as long
Right.
as you have a check here, check here, check here, doesn't matter what tool,
Mhm.
because they were telling you and allowing you to find a creative way, something that might work either for your district,
Right.
something that may work for you. But
Mhm.
in the end, they're learning too the tech
Yep.
tools that are out there. And of
Yes.
course, where whoever you share your portfolio with, they're gonna see, wow, this person it can go in depth into so many of these platforms and is
Mhm.
well versed in them. So
Yeah.
that's something that's amazing.
But that is where you get that student voice and student choice.
Yes.
And going back to Albert's 1 minute documentary, when I met with the sophomores, I think we're sophomores. Oh no, I don't remember. They were doing some competition, and it was the 7 billion. So it had to do with like the SDGs and everything. And so when I introduced the 1 minute documentary, one of the things on the legality side, they couldn't have things that weren't owned by them. Like they had to be, if they were copyrighted, it takes forever to get permission. So you got to make it your own. I said, guys, think of a 1 minute documentary as a TikTok. You get 60 seconds. You can sit there with your phone and take the pictures and you can do your voiceover. You own it. You own the words, you own the pictures. But just be careful. Don't be filming when there's like a CVS or a Walgreens and you're
Yeah.
spitting that you get in trouble. But it becomes yours. And it's 60 seconds. Be done with it. And they were like, I never even thought of that. I'm like, well, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm just beginning on that. I'm learning
Yeah.
how to do that. I feel like a fool half the time, but I do it.
Hey, you know what? And but that's all part of getting even ourselves as educators getting out of our comfort zone and just doing things. And I'm seeing some educators doing some wonderful stuff on TikTok.
Yeah.
And we were actually talking about that earlier today, and even how ourselves as adults,
Mm-hmm.
can go onto TikTok and
Right.
it's just a snack size PD. And like you were saying,
Yes.
we can pause, rewind, take a screenshot,
Yeah.
come back, and you're
Mm-hmm.
learning that skill. And how
Yeah.
easy is it to search? Deb, you told me, what do we just need to do? Type in a what?
Hashtag.
There you go. Just
That's
type in a
it. Type in
hashtag.
your hashtag and you're good. So, like what we were talking about, when I want to learn little tricks for Procreate that I'm kind of stuck on. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, nobody's home. No,
Is
no.
it Tish?
All right.
Is it Tish calling you?
No, she'd be just no. She's probably laughing and taking 9,000 pictures as she watches this. Anyway, um, I wanted to learn certain things about Procreate, and all I have to do is just put hashtag, and up it came. And if you think about it, the way our world is now with technology, it literally is that 1 minute PD. Nobody has the brain, not even, it's not even capacity, but what's the word I'm trying to think? You just don't have the patience to do it.
Yeah.
It's now, I need it now. And that's what I love about the TikTok stuff. Oh, thanks. That's exactly what I wanted to know. 1 minute PD. Done. That's what it's
Perfect.
becoming. So
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
Tish says, yeah, she would use Clubhouse to call you.
yeah.
Yeah, she'd be pinging. I'm surprised. Like I'm looking at my notifications and I don't see anything here that says Tish Poncio has started a room.
Not yet.
Not yet,
But
but
yeah,
I
that's
know
what it comes down, our attention span. Yes.
cognitive overload. There you
And
go.
especially with, I mean, I can't even believe in 1 week, it's a year that we've been
Yes.
doing this, March 13th. And I'm
Yeah.
like, look at what's happened. Like she said, that overload. Is she texting you?
I just got a notification says Tish Poncio has started a room.
You can't do a room while we're doing this, Tish. God.
Oh, Tish, Tish,
Oh my
Tish.
God, yes. Yeah.
No, but yeah,
Anyway.
like we were just having that conversation, and I was talking to some of my colleagues, saying I
Yeah.
can't believe it's been a year, and it just still to this date, I'm like, wow, I don't know, but again, like you said, it's just that cognitive overload, everybody screen fatigue, Zoom fatigue,
Yeah.
everything fatigue. Our brains are just overwhelmed. So even for us as adults and as educators, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking that little snack size
No.
PD. I
No.
mean, that little bit at a time, because I mean, we've already got a lot of stuff aside from our job, but our
Mhm.
personal life, things of that sort that needed to get done.
Mhm.
Little snippets
Yeah.
really go a long way for
Oh
sure.
yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm sure, like, for the parents that are home teaching their kids, hello, Karina, I love you. um, little PDs for them to help them understand that. That would be like huge. 1 minute PD for parents. Done. You
There
know?
you go.
But
There you go.
but I
All
think
right.
this whole thing is going to change the whole landscape with the
Yeah.
trainings and all that. I mean, I think about when we all have to go to in-service. And the joke on the joke you always see on TikTok is you could have sent that in an email. Yes, it's true. I don't need to sit through a 3-hour training when 95% of the time everybody knows this stuff. Just send it to me. I'll watch it on my own and I'm good.
There you
Aren't
go.
most of us anyway self-taught? We're self-taught.
Yeah.
I don't need no.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. And this, of course, and we were just talking about this this past Monday, doing it during class, and just
Mhm,
saying, this has, like you said, it's changed. The education landscape has changed. Things
mhm,
are going to look different. The way that we are going to do professional development definitely going to be very different. And but I think in that too, there's also definitely not only a room for obviously more innovation, finding
mhm,
unique ways to share PD, but also with that, even us as educators learning from TikTok, I mean, and this is one of the things that I have always said, and I've said it, for years, even while I was in the classroom. We can't teach like Google doesn't exist. We can't teach like TikTok doesn't exist, or
right,
Instagram Reels, where you've got educators that are out there putting some stuff out there
right,
as well. It's you have to understand that there's other ways of getting that information, like you said, and for somebody that is self-taught, or can just simply say, you know what, I didn't quite understand that, but I'm going to go find a video, and
right.
I can pause, play, and rewind.
Mhm,
Where you can't, well, during your virtual meet, you can't
mhm,
pause and rewind the the presenter until you get the recording afterwards.
right.
So here, you instant PD,
Mhm,
instant right here on the palm of your hand, and
yeah.
you're ready to rock.
And,
Uh,
I think about when we did the Texas Wakelet, when Tish and I moderated and the 6 of you got on. That's pocket-sized PD right there. Here's how I'm using it. Here's how I'm using it. Here how I'm using it. That's what we need. And then the Ed Camp Cardigan that we did this weekend, it went for 24 hours. My friend Amanda Jones, she literally did 2 midnight sessions, 3 o'clock in the morning, because she's, passionate
yeah,
about it. Okay. But the thing that was nice is it was a twist. It was supposed to be an Ed Camp where you're all supposed to talk, but it turned into more of, we're sharing our passion
yes,
is what it is. And we need more of that, when I did one session on state library association reading committees, with my friend Amanda Hunt. She's on the graphic novel one. I'm on the Tashos one. And it was nice to just talk about our experience and then talk to the other people in the room. Are you on this? What's your experience like? What have you done? And then when Wendy and I did the Wakelet one, we threw together a Wakelet with examples of what we did, but we kept it small. We talked about back channels. We talked about the collaborating, especially with the 13-year-olds and under, so teachers know that they can use that. But they were little snippets, but it went so fast. And that's what people want. And if you look out there at the hashtag #EdCampCardigan, Rose knows, I went to her session. Her picture that she put out was on point. It was one graphic. The library is 1% of this building, but then 99% of the community. That's what we are. And that's a perfect, there you go. There's your 1 second PD, yeah, so fast. But yeah, and it was just being able to talk with them and get those experiences, not sit there while somebody's up watching, reading off the PowerPoint. Oh, don't do that. I don't
Who
want
does that?
People still do it. But again, it's like you want to share the passions. It's kind of what I really wish they would do in some of these when we go to like TCA and when we can be back face to face. Have like a giant round table where everybody can see each other and get that out there, and people can get in the middle and walk around. I mean, Tisha and I would be all over the room, but that's what people want. They want that not being read to. And that's what I liked about the EdCampCardigan. I liked being able to do that Wakelet Texas educators where we all just did something really quick. That's what we need nowadays. Short, bite size, like you said.
Short, bite size, sweet. Oh, I love it. All right, Deb. Well, hey, before we go though, I want you to, show people your shirt.
Okay.
I want to see that.
Can you guys see?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm making them. Yes, I'm selling them. I'm still trying to figure out this Etsy shop stuff, but you could also DM me on Instagram. I've got my Deb Zeman LMS, but I also have Z Reads and Designs, which is what I am on, Instagram, but I also have it on TikTok. And I also did little tiny stickers.
There you go.
So, I mean, that's part of my learning the Cricut is that's my outlet. But like what we were talking before, I'm looking for a niche. Oh, that's my daughter-in-law.
There you go. Thank you for joining us, Jessica. Thank you.
She's my teacher. But anyway, I'm look out there on Etsy and I see what people put on Instagram. I'm like, okay, what I want to create is more of a niche for librarians, not your typical so many books, so little time. I want stuff like, well, it's true, or not enough bookshelves, which you can ask my husband, drives him crazy. He's probably watching this now because he's at my son's house. He's like, I'm going to kill her when we get home. But yeah, so I made this shirt. And I'm happy to make them, sell them to other people or whatever. But again, it's like we talked about. That's that edupreneur side hustle, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
But again, it's my outlet too. I didn't think I could do exactly. My EdTech life. There you go. That's it. And that's our outlets. Yeah. Even when there's not the remote learning. Oh my God. That's my son. He's coming.
I love it. I love it. Hey, that family support.
Anyway.
Now, this is a PLF right here.
Yeah,
this is an
PLF. And then if, of course, my other son from New York joined in, then it's a family affair. But
I love it.
But it's just it's a fun outlet. And my husband says it's a hobby, but it could turn into something, or it's just something I do on the side.
Yeah, there you go. It's just
hours of just playing.
Creativity. That's what it's all about. So let me share this also. I wanted to share your website here. So they can go to unstoppable-educator.com and they can go ahead and check you out there as well. So let me go ahead and put this on the full screen. And of course, they can go ahead and learn a little bit more about you, You've got some blog posts here
I'm a
and
little behind.
presentations and so on. So this is where you can go ahead and find some information from the always amazing, energetic, wonderful Deb Zeman.
Thank you.
Deb, it was a pleasure
This is
having
fun.
you, my friend. This was
Thank you.
amazing. And just to think that we just so happened to just land on the same table there at the
Mhm.
TCEA
Yeah.
convention and just talk. And then all of Tish
Mhm.
was there too. And,
Yeah.
now you guys are on the show and it's just so exciting. So
Yes.
thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here and just sharing your story,
Yeah.
sharing your passions, and then just letting people see who you are and what you do and just how and this is the way she is all the time, folks. This is not for the show, I
No.
promise you, because in every conversation that I've had with her or even there in the TCA, this is the way she is,
This is
and I
me.
love it. It's contagious and it's beautiful. And thank you,
Thank
Deb,
you.
for being part here of this show,
Thank
which is my passion project. And guess
Yes.
what? I want to tell everybody that today is a special night. I did share this with Deb, but it is our 50th show. 50th show tonight.
Yay!
And I was thinking to myself, I cannot believe that we've done 50 shows and each show is amazing and near and dear to me in a special way. And I know that the shows have helped many educators and many people that are out there, content creators. So again, thank you so much for
Yes.
honoring me today with being our 50th guest. And
Thank
so I'm really
you.
excited. And guys, this Saturday, Tish is going to be on the show this
And I
Saturday.
will be in the audience.
Yes. So then you can start the clubhouse room
That's
while
right.
we're doing the
We'll do the
conversation.
clubhouse. We'll totally critique her and all that good stuff, but no. And then, of course, sometime we will try to do the two of us. But I told her, I told you, we told each other it's going to be like a 2 or 3 hour.
Awesome. No, and
Thank
thank
you
you
for having me,
guys. Yes, thank
everybody.
you,
Thanks for
Mark
joining.
Zeman. Thank you so much for being here. Jessica Denson, thank you so much. Rose Luna, Pili, thank you so much. Karina, we've got Gerardo, Isaac, we've got Omar. Feli showed up. She peeked in here earlier today. So thank you guys, because if it isn't for you guys, we wouldn't be where we are today. And thank you so much for all of your support. Really appreciate you guys. Please make sure that you give us a like on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our channel. Go to our webpage right here that you can see at myedtech.life, myedtech.life, so you can go ahead and catch the rest of our shows. And again, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate all the passion that you share, Deb, all our passionate viewers that are out here that are here to support you and cheer you on. And just, it's one big happy family. And of course, being a member of my PLF, you always have an open invitation here, Deb. Anytime that you want to come back and share, maybe your Etsy store took off like crazy and you want to come in and share. Hey, you can come and you can share all that good stuff. All right, guys. Well, for those of you that are watching, thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you. And until next time, stay techy, my friends.